Do you feel like you spend too much time trying to fix poor sounding audio? I've talked about standardizing my cleanup and mix process when editing podcasts, and I've had some questions about what I mean by this. So here's an example. I'll show you how I use the same process to clean up and mix every podcast recording to ensure that I'm not spending extra time trying to fix something that is never going to sound like it's a studio recording. Too many people think that post production is there to add magic, which is not the case. Mixing and audio cleanup is there to provide polish and get you that last 10%. And I demonstrate that with the second example in this video. Okay, so here we are in Hindenburg, and I'm going to just demonstrate the raw audio on this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day.
I'm not going to go through my entire thought process on this because I did that in my last video, and I'll drop a link in the description and up in the corner with a little tag. But what I can hear on this clip is we've got a lot of noise and a lot of reverb. So I'm going to turn on DX Revive Pro to handle the noise and reverb reduction.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day. I have a couple little babies in my family right now, so I'm seeing this up close and personal too, which is so wonderful. Um, Parents know how remarkable this time is, as you said, right? We can see our baby.
With DX Revive Pro, I know that I want the Studio 3 algorithm for how this audio sounds. Now I'll do some EQ work with Sonable Smart EQ. I choose the type of audio I'm working with. In this case, it's speech. I'm going to train it real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day. I have a couple little babies in my family right now, so I'm seeing this up close and personal.
So we can hear the EQ did some cleaning up. It makes it a little more clear. Next thing I'm going to do is adjust it so we're not doing anything below 100 hertz. I'll add a high pass or low cut filter. Set that to about 65 or so. Okay, so we're done with the EQ. We're done with the denoising. Let's move on to dynamics. Same thing as with Sonable Smart EQ. This time it's Sonable Smart Comp. We'll train it on dynamic audio. We'll go right here.
Which is so wonderful. Um, Parents know how remarkable this time is, as you said, right?
We'll turn on the input writing. So we're done here. Let's listen back.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day.
So when we compressed, we brought up the noise floor. So I'll turn on voice denoise from Isotope RX. Since we don't have a whole lot of noise, I'll play it back and adjust it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day. I have a couple little babies in my family right now, so I'm seeing this.
Okay, so here I've dialed it down to 8 dBs of reduction. And basically, we want to use only as much voice denoise as we need, not any more, because we don't want it to degrade the audio more than it already is. So here's the finished, cleaned up, and mixed track.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day. I have a couple little babies in my family right.
So here's before.
Absolutely. Yeah, I work with parents every day. I have a couple little babies in my family right now, so I'm seeing this up close and personal too.
Okay, so that's a much more listenable experience for the listener. Let me pause for just a second and ask that if you're getting value from this video, that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see more of my content. So now let's move over to another example. This one is recorded in a much better space with better equipment.
Yep. And it's just an industry of question marks, right? Like, you have enough clients.
So I'll go ahead and go through the same process I did with the last one. Visually, I can see there's no noise. I wasn't hearing any noise. I wasn't really hearing any reverb.
Yep. And it's just an industry of question marks, right? Like, so I have some clients where,
Okay, so I don't need to clear. I'm not hearing any mouth clicks. So I'll just start in with EQ. Same thing as before. Go in speech. This time it's a lower voice. We'll hit train.
so I have some clients where I edit up to the standard that I know they can recognize as good and do no more than that.
Same thing. I don't want it working below 100 hertz. I'll do a high pass or low cut. Set to about 65. Go ahead and close that up. We'll add some smart comp. Find some dynamic audio. We'll start right here.
I have some clients where I edit up to the standard that I know they can recognize as good and do no more than that.
Turn on input writing. Now let's listen back.
And it's just an industry of question marks, right? Like, you have enough clients, you figure that out. And there's a few different ways you can approach it.
So I've gone through the same process, and this audio sounds so much better than the first track. And honestly, because it's recorded with good equipment in a good space, we really don't need anything. Well, everything could generally use a little bit of compression, but let's turn everything off and listen, and then I'll add the EQ and compression back in.
And it's just an industry of question marks, right? Like, you have enough clients, you figure that out. And there's a few different ways you can approach it. So I have some clients where I edit up to the standard that I know they can recognize.
Okay, I am hearing a little bit of mouth noise, so I'll turn this on with my default.
So I have some clients where I edit up to the standard that I know they can recognize as good.
Now that we've compressed, I am hearing a little bit of ringing, so I'll add just a little bit of supertone clear.
So I have some clients where I edit up to the standard that I know they can recognize as good and do no more than that.
So there we have it. I haven't spent any extra time on one track or the other. The one that started out with the better recording is the one that sounds better. The one that started out sounding not that good, that was recorded in a bad sounding room with a laptop mic, it still is never going to sound better than a 7 or so. I know that many of us struggle to know where to draw the line when it comes to these types of things. My best advice is to standardize your workflow. Develop an easily repeatable process that allows you to work faster and smarter. And don't get caught up in trying to take a recording that's a 4 to a 10 when it will never be more than a 7 at the best. Let me know your thoughts and any questions you may have. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.